Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button because it really helps. Or if you're on Spotify, please follow me. I need to start addressing you guys on Spotify as well because I know that there's a lot of listeners on Spotify, and I'm so grateful for you guys. And thank you for listening and watching. The theme of this episode is Boru updates. Boru. I don't know how to say it because there's not a W. So Boru dates. Okay? That's the theme of this episode. So let's get into the first story. The title of the first story is My Friend Invited My Ex-Husband to Her Wedding, so I Needed to Leave. I, 37 female, left my husband, Darren, 37 male, 2 years ago when our eldest daughter, now 19, came out and he physically attacked her for it. We have 4 children and I have sole custody over the 3 who are young enough to be covered by custody agreements, which Darren has tried to fight me over for the past 2 years, but when you have a criminal record for beating up one child, the courts are unlikely to give custody of the others. Darren and I were in the same friendship group since primary school, but my friends told me they had all cut contact with him. I went to my friend Rachel's 37 female wedding this weekend when I spotted him at the ceremony because it's a wedding and an important day for my friend. I chose not to acknowledge his existence. It was a big wedding anyway, so I thought I could just avoid him and have a conversation with Rachel about his presence at a later date because she deserved to enjoy her day. However, when I was looking at the seating plan for the reception, I saw both of our names, one after the other. Rachel had put our group, including Darren, on the same table. My 2 other friends from this group convinced me to take my seat because we hardly get to see each other anymore, promising that they had no idea why Darren was invited and vowing to make him regret being born if any drama started. Darren sat next to me, greeted me with a, "Hey babe," as if we're still together, and I could not cope with being in his presence. All I could think about was desperately trying to restrain him, while my second eldest called the police. I downed my glass of Prosecco and walked to my hotel. Yesterday, I got a message from Rachel saying that her mom asked her to invite Darren, and Rachel said yes because her parents were paying for most of the wedding. Rachel's mom is Darren's godmother. I asked her about the seating plan, and again, she said that was her mom's doing because she was adamant that there was a potential for us to get back together. She apologized for not telling me, saying that she thought I wouldn't go if I knew, which is true, I wouldn't have come. I have not replied to that message and I don't plan to. As much as I don't want to give up on on an over 3 decade long friendship, I can't get past this. Okay, for me it's like that's fine to invite him because you feel like you have to. I mean, I wouldn't. I understand though the way that like feeling guilty and wanting to do what your mom or mother-in-law, I don't know, the person that's paying for it says because you feel guilty if you don't, because it's like, I mean, you don't have to do that by any means. If someone offers to pay for your wedding, you don't owe them anything. Like you don't owe them. That's their that's their like gift to you. It shouldn't come with a price to pay for them to tell you what you need to do for your wedding. That's how I think of it. I think that I would just like, if someone's offering to pay for any part of my wedding, that does not give them any right to tell me what to do, who to invite, or like have any say. I think this is my wedding and you're offering to pay. And I feel like I would just probably outright say that, although I don't know if I would actually, because if I really needed help paying for my wedding, I probably wouldn't want to like create commotion like that. But I feel like she should have just been like, okay, I'll invite him and I'll seat them next to each other, but just invite him and not seat them next to each other. Actually, just lie and say that you sat them next to each other, but seat them as far away from each other as possible because that's so messed up. I mean, I wouldn't have invited him in the first place, regardless of who's paying and what they were saying, but like, because this person beat up their own child. They should be in jail. They shouldn't even be allowed, they should have an ankle monitor on and not even be allowed to go to weddings. That's actually wild to me that he would even be like, that he's even walking this earth and he's not locked up in a jail cell because that's what he deserves to be. Okay, let's read some comments. This person said, F your friend and her lousy excuses. She blindsided you without any regard to your feelings, and the fact that he assaulted your child. I don't care what Rachel's excuses are. She's the bride. She makes the final call no matter what her mother wants. I would think most vendors want some kind of signature from the couple to approve things. Rachel's a coward that would rather place blame for her decisions on someone outside of your friendship group. That's actually wild. Someone said bowing to family pressure is one thing, not giving you a heads up proves she was never a real friend to begin with. Yeah, especially for your own gain. Like, oh, I knew you wouldn't come, so I didn't tell you. What? So you did that for selfish reasons because you wanted her to come to your wedding regardless of an abuser being there that she has plenty of trauma from? No, that's messed up. Okay, there's an update, and it's 2 days later. My friend invited my ex-husband to her wedding, so I had to leave. Update. Thank you to everyone for their support in the comments. Before I get into the update, I noticed a couple of comments pointing out my mistake with sole custody, and I'm just grateful that I have a solicitor for custody stuff because if I make a mistake, it doesn't come up with a wiggly red line under it, I will not pick up on it. Anyway, I did not reply to Rachel and just blocked her, but her husband called me yesterday. He apologized, but then went on about how hard this is for Rachel and how she feels that the day was tainted for her. I told him that how she sees her day is not my responsibility, and I ended up blocking him as well. I talked to one of the members of the friend group, and he apologized for convincing me to even sit down at the same table. He said he thought more about him wanting to have the group back together than how it would affect me. He then told me about how Darren told Rachel's family members who asked where I was that me seeing him reminded him too much of our son who died 2 years ago and I had to leave. He was referring to my daughter who is very much a live trans woman. Apparently, no one in the group attempted to correct him, so I have just removed myself from our group chats and am trying to make better friends. Also, thank you to the people who wished my daughter well. She wanted me to say that she really appreciates it and she is starting to thrive despite the mental scarring and tinnitus her sorry excuse for her father gave her. I could not be prouder of how far she came in her journey, and in September she will be the first person in my family to go to university. She is taking a page out of the Petty Queen's book and getting her revenge with a life well lived. No, that's disgusting. I honestly, for a second, was like, oh, your son died. And then continuing reading that was actually like, I can't believe I just read that sentence. I can't believe that people say that about their own children. Like, my son died. What is wrong with you? You're a disgusting human being, Elon Musk. Not sorry. This is exactly what Elon Musk is doing to his daughter, saying he lost his son to like the woke world or whatever because she's transgender is so wild to me. Like, you don't deserve. Stop knocking up every woman in the United States of America and beyond, and then maybe you wouldn't have to worry about children because you don't deserve to be a father, honestly. If you do things like that, I don't think you deserve to be a parent. I don't think you should have kids if you can't accept that maybe your kid is going to be transgender or gay or other things. Like, I think that, or even like with religion, like, if you can't accept that they might not believe what you believe in a religion sort of way, and other things that I can't think of right now, but if you can't accept that, then don't have a fucking kid because you don't need to put your pressure and your trauma and your generational trauma onto your kid because you're just making their lives so much worse. And I think that you need to reconsider and never have children. Sorry, not sorry. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I don't know. I mean, I just am about love. I'm about love and acceptance, and I just, I'm not for people that don't agree. And I need to start, because sometimes I feel bad about like singling people out that maybe don't believe the same things as me, but then I'm like, no. If you don't believe that, then you're honestly a sad human being. And if you don't accept people for who they are, especially your own children, I don't want to associate with you. And I don't want you to even be in my anywhere near me or have anything to do with me because that just so doesn't align with my views, and I hate it. Because then for me, that means you're not a nice person, you're not a kind person. That to me makes you an evil person. So, sorry. No, I'm not, but of course, I'm going to say that. Okay. Anyways, let's read some comments. This person said that whole friend group was just a bunch of spineless losers or backstabbing snakes. OP is better off without them. Yeah, they made their choice and it turns out they sided with her bitch ass ex. OP handled this with more class than I would have. That explains why it's in chaos. Those type of people can't stop trying to mess with each other as well. The fact that no one at the table spoke up and said, actually, she left because when your child, who isn't dead, by the way, came out as trans, you beat said child to the point she still has tinnitus. You have a criminal record and you lost custody of your other kids. OP decided she couldn't sit next to the man who hurt her child that way, especially once you called her babe as if it's all fine now, is enraging. They just let him lie like that. Normally, I'm all for avoiding drama at a wedding and sucking it up, but some things cross the line of that being reasonable, and this is absolutely one of them. Well, for me, it's crazy because it's like, why? I mean, I don't know. If you don't want drama at your wedding, probably don't do that. Probably don't place those two people next to each other because that is bound to be drama. I'm taking a sip of my Coke, but I'm sorry if I'm like a little stiff today. It's honestly, for some reason, it's kind of hard to talk because my neck has been I can't really move today. I've been very like immobile because I hurt my neck this morning at the gym and I can barely move. And so it's like I feel like I can't express myself that well today because of it. The title of the next story is Finally Found Out Why My Friends Don't Want Me Going on My Date Tonight, and I'm Pretty Annoyed. For context, I'm 35 male and my date is 43 female. We actually met because she's in a hobby group with my mom and she encouraged us to go out together. Two of my friends and their girlfriends didn't approve when they found out. At first, it was because she was a few years older than me and because she's a friend of my mom's, but after pointing out that our 8-year age gap is not a big gap and my mom was supportive, they just called it weird and creepy to date her. Eventually, after everyone else I asked seemed confused about the problem like I was when they came clean and admitted that they had been talking to my ex that left me a year ago and she had been missing me. My ex is friends with my two disapproving girlfriends, and they all have been planning to try to get us back together like some kind of trashy romance plot. My ex left me after we were together for a year because she just didn't feel right about our relationship. It hurt like hell at the time, but I've moved on. I've run into her a few times and been polite, but I have no interest in a relationship or even a friendship with her. She's not a part of my life anymore, and I'm keeping it that way. My friends made me feel like I was crazy and weird for wanting to go on a date with a woman I get along with. We've hung out a lot in other settings, just not a date yet. Also, they could try and force my ex back into my life. My ex texted me this morning asking if we could meet up and talk, and I told her that I wasn't interested in anything she'd have to say and that I'd like to keep my distance from her. I'm also putting some distance between my two friends who are playing along with their girlfriend's stupid game. On the plus side, I'm really looking forward to our date tonight. Dinner, drinks, and a walk through town to enjoy the nice weather we're getting. Okay, I can get why that would be annoying. Like, please. But we're going to read the update. I finally found out why my friends don't want me going on my date tonight, and I'm pretty annoyed. Update. I just got home, did not expect this much support. I figured I'd let anyone finding this late or checking back in know the date went very well. Haven't had a first date go that well, I think, ever, to be honest. The second date has already been planned. I'll be cooking dinner and we'll be watching a few terrible movies we both share love for. As for my crappy ex-friends, I've already told them that we're done being friends. Luckily, they are part of a separate social circle from my main friend group of friends, so it's very easy to break up there. X tried calling me, went ahead and blocked her everywhere I could think of, not letting those idiots ruin an otherwise amazing night. Thanks again for everyone's supportive words. I know I made the right call, but it's nice to be validated, you know? Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I get why you're like upset. I don't know how much these friends meant to you. It doesn't seem like they meant a lot to you, but I do feel like maybe I wouldn't personally stop being friends with them. I would definitely like set some boundaries with them and talk about them or talk to them about the problem and hopefully they could come to an understanding of why I was upset about it. But I don't think that I would just like completely ditch them as friends unless they're just like not good friends in general. But there's another update that we're going to read. Finally found out why my friends don't want me going on my date tonight, and I'm pretty annoyed. Update 2. Wow, this got a lot more attention than it deserved. Came back to hundreds of messages. People wanted to know about date number 2. It went just as well as the first date, I would say. I made chicken parm, and she got me my favorite cider to drink. We watched Velocipaster because that movie is truly art at its finest. She's an incredible woman, and now we're official, so I get to brag about my awesome girlfriend to anyone who will listen. She's confident, smart, funny, gorgeous, and she knows what she wants. She's very straightforward, which I appreciate. Obviously, it is way too early to tell what the future of this relationship looks like, but for now, I'm happier than I've ever been in a long time. Also, my mom is being smug as hell and teasing me relentlessly, but my girlfriend is getting it even worse because mom and the girls from the hobby club are all ganging up on her. It's all in good fun. I just think they haven't had much new relationship gossip in a while. X, her friends, and my 2 ex-friends seem to have accepted the breakup, and I don't expect them to show up knocking on my door, demanding that we hang out or anything like a few people suspected. With those friends out of my life, I'm no longer likely to even run into my ex as I only ever saw her when hanging out with those particular friends. Might see her at the store, but even that's unlikely because I go at odd hours to do my shopping. That's it. No big fun drama. I'm happy. Girlfriend is happy. Family and friends are happy. Life is good. Thank you for listening to me yap about my love life on the tail end of a post I wrote just to work off some steam. Hey, at least we got a good ending, honestly, because we never really get those. It's always something crazy. And let's read a couple comments. Someone said, imagine being those friends. Imagine meddling with your friend's life because their ex who walked away wants to undump them. OP said they're like 15 years too old for this. Someone said, my thoughts exactly. They're presumably all in their 30s. This friendship breakup is likely overdue. Ex probably realized how hard it is to find a decent one and wants to crawl back. Good for OP, shutting that down and ditching those drama mongers. And the ex dumped him first based on what I assumed was bad vibes. What could that mean? F if I know, but all I see is immaturity and a lack of commitment, wanting to get away at the first sign of a downturn. Hi guys! Sorry to interrupt, but if you want extra content weekly, go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/storytimesociety. If you want to listen on Spotify because you're trying to fall asleep or you're driving, then head to the link in the description. And if you're there and you don't mind, please rate me 5 stars on there. It really helps with the algorithm. And then the last thing is we have a subreddit linked below. We have a lot of things linked below, but the subreddit, you can share any stories that you want to share. Okay, thanks. Love you guys. Okay, the title of the next story is Am I the asshole for calling off my wedding because my fiancé wanted to invite her ex? My fiancé wanted to invite an ex to our wedding. From what I know, he was a dick who always put her down and told her that he was the best she could ever do. Naturally, I asked her why the hell does she want him at our wedding? She said she wanted to shove it in his face that she did amazingly for herself and she got someone way better. While I appreciated the compliment, I asked her, are you really so hung up on him that you're going to make our wedding about him? Honestly, once I said it, it was like someone else told me. I didn't even realize what I was saying, and I didn't even understand it until I said it. I told her that she shouldn't bother to invite him because we weren't getting married anymore. She was stunned and eventually apologized and told me to forget about her ex. I felt angry and almost told her she's the one who needs to forget about him. I don't know. She spent the day telling me that she's sorry for bringing it up. I'll be honest, I'm even reconsidering the entire relationship now. Okay, jeez. That was so quick to just be like, we're done. I mean, I get being upset about that, but it's like, I would be so upset about that. I'd be like, wait, sorry? That's what you're thinking about right now? You're thinking about proving to your ex that you got someone better? If my boyfriend did that, I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're weird for that. You're so weird. Like, I don't know if you think that's normal, but you need to reconsider what you think is normal because that's actually insane. Okay, second post. Am I the asshole for calling off my wedding because my fiance wanted to invite her ex? Update. So we are going to try some premarital counseling first. Our wedding has gone from being called off to being postponed indefinitely. My fiance tried to explain why she wanted to invite her ex, but not only did she keep changing her answers, each one made it way worse for me. First, she tried to explain that she just wanted some payback. I told her, and if he doesn't care, are you going to rub it in his face or our first child, our first home? She said she didn't mean it that way, and she just wanted to prove her worth, which I then told her that I guess her ex is the only one who can determine her worth. We kept going like this for a while, and there wasn't a single answer she gave that didn't boil down to she cares what her ex thinks, and apparently she can't be happy unless her ex felt some sort of way. She denied it, but honestly, I find it hard to believe her. I don't want our marriage to be only worth something if her ex is the only one who can determine it. I refuse to be with someone whose happiness revolves around their ex's feelings. I decided to try some counseling. We've been together for years now. For your information, she was with her ex for about 2 years. 3 years later, she met me, and we've been together for 4. I figured I should try, so at least I can say I tried. That's wild. You're It's been 7 years since you broke up with your ex. That'd be like me wanting to invite my ex, who we were on good terms for a really long time, but then obviously after a while you like get in new relationships and you don't, even though I literally talk so much shit about him on this podcast, it's so funny, but he knows what he did. But anyways, it's so funny because it's been like what, 5 years since we broke up, and we're still like we were on good terms for like years after the breakup, but then I got in a relationship, so I like stopped talking to him as a friend, and he still tried to like reach out to me all the time, but then he got into a relationship, so he stopped talking to me, and like we don't talk anymore. We haven't talked for like a couple years, but that would literally be like me being like, I'm inviting my ex from 5 years ago to our wedding, so he can see that I'm doing so much better. Huh? I don't feel the need to prove that to my ex. I actually don't care at all if he thinks that I'm doing better or not, because I just don't. I'm like so bye boo tomatoes about that whole situation. But obviously I talk about it a lot on here just because it's one of the most like it's a long relationship that was significant in my life, so a lot of things relate back to it. I don't need to explain. I am who I am. Okay. Am I the asshole for calling off my wedding because my fiance wanted to invite her ex? Update 3. Update 2. We broke up. We went to counseling for months, and I just kept feeling worse and worse. Honestly, she thinks that kind of reminded of some comments I read on my previous posts. How he was meant to be nothing except something to be made fun of. I guess she simply did not understand I did not want her ex there in any way, shape, or form, including in her head. I told her I don't want her to look at me at the altar with her ex in her head. She just didn't get it. She thought because she wanted him to feel bad, it was okay. Honestly, at some point I realized we were talking about her damn ex every single day, and it just hit me. I don't want to ever hear her talk about him again. I don't want to hear his damn name ever again. I don't want my wife to constantly think about what her ex thinks of her. It's actually been a few weeks since our breakup, and I feel so relieved I haven't heard my ex talk about her ex. That's like how you know when you feel relieved about the breakup. That's how you know that it wasn't meant to be and it wasn't worth it and you shouldn't be in that relationship. Okay, let's read some comments. They say the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Big fat facts. I had an old situationship, wouldn't even call him an ex, DM me to tell me how he had a girlfriend nearly 2 years after we stopped talking. When I didn't respond, I got a barrage of messages about how he matured and was in a better place. I blocked him and he told mutual friends I was being a bitch because he moved on. Wow, girl, you don't need a house because you live rent free in his head. LOL, my child's father has had multiple relationships and even another child after me. His other child's mother ended up texting me and basically being like, damn girl, these folks talk about you all the time to the point where it's getting on my nerves. He also has whoever the new girlfriend is harass me. I think I finally snapped when the last one told me that I was bitter, and I finally just said, girl, you're messaging me and I didn't even know who you were, so who's really bitter in this situation? Jesus, that's wild. Like, please, get me out of your head. Cleanse me from your soul. Now she has 2 exes to be obsessed about. One day he'll get an invitation to her wedding. Imagine. That would be wild. hopefully she gets over this whole ex thing and maybe works through that she's not over him yet with like her therapist or something, because clearly she's not. I have an ex like this. I occasionally have to see him in social situations because of mutual friends, proximity, and he has a family member married to my now husband's family member, which is how my ex and I met originally. It has been over a decade since we broke up. He is now also married and we are all getting close to 40. He, as recently as this past summer when we were all at another wedding, stomps away dramatically if I appear in a group and makes our whole mutual friend group awkward. He also looks at every Instagram story I post, even though I did a soft block slash force unfollow years ago because I assumed he was watching them all because I showed up next in his story queue. I unfollowed him when we broke up, and I don't want to expend the energy to block him or make my profile private. He's also done a lot of other weird shit, like we got engaged and he got engaged a week later. We picked our wedding date less than 3 months after our engagement and told our families the date when we announced the engagement. My ex then picked one within a month of ours. Another example, my husband likes a certain sports team. He's not a big sports guy, but he likes this team enough to keep up on their schedule and maybe watch a game or two if it's convenient for him. My ex found this out and apparently now makes it his whole personality for that sports season, hating that team and has for years. Just weird. It's been a decade. If he didn't make any interaction slash time we were in the same place awkward, I would probably forget we ever dated. I've been married almost 3 times as long as my ex and I were together. It just seems exhausting to care that much about getting one up on your ex a decade later. That's some shit my high school ex would do. Like, he was so, it's crazy how, like, sometimes you don't even realize how much you affect someone because in high school, I dated this guy for like 6 months and I was obsessed with him, okay? I was obsessed with this man. It took me 2 years to get over this man. And like, I thought my life was over. I was so upset. I was like, oh my God. Mind you, he cheated on me like multiple times. And also, my best friend at the time, she had a sister that was 2 years older than us. Or no, was she 2 years older than us? No, she was a year older than us, I think, because my ex boyfriend was 2 years older than us. And then my friend's sister was 1 year older than us. And after I broke, which, hello, I'm still best friends with this girl and I love her to death. But she didn't tell me this until months after we broke up that my boyfriend, my ex boyfriend, while we were dating, called her sister while he was drunk like 45 times and left her weird voicemails saying, like, oh my God, like, let's please answer the phone, like, obsessing over her. And I was like, what's going on? Especially because I didn't even know I didn't even know he had this, like, her number. I didn't even know that. I mean, that is just like one of the examples. And I count that as cheating, but he did physically cheat on me as well. So hooray. Hooray, hooray. It was just wild. I was like, and you thought to tell me that now. Why? Why wouldn't you tell me that during our relationship? Because I for sure would have broken up with him if I would have known that. I mean, this man was so fucking weird. Like, we used to hang out with his best friend was talking to this girl and they were about to date. So we would go on double dates all the time with them or just hang out as couples with them all the time. And then they broke up, like they ended things. And then like 3 days after, I see that my boyfriend at the time was Snapchatting back and forth with this girl. Like, what? That's your best friend's ex and you have a girlfriend. Why are you Snapchatting that girl? Yeah, he was crazy. He was wild. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And then, like, 2 years after that, one of my best friends, who I am not best friends with anymore, but she was one of my best friends growing up for like years. But then, like, throughout high school, I kind of realized that she was just not it. She was so toxic. And I should have realized that way earlier because in eighth grade, she was the reason that I lost all of my friends because we were in the same friend group and she made them all turn against me, which was wild. I, like, literally wanted to myself in eighth grade because of her. So, honestly, fuck her. And every time I've come home in the past, like, since 2016, since I left my hometown, she's always asked me to get dinner or get drinks or hang out, and I'm always like, sorry, busy. I'm not giving you the time of day, you fucking asshole. And Sorry, but she got her karma. She got her karma. She literally, what was I saying now before? Oh, I didn't even say what she did. She ended up sleeping with my ex-boyfriend like a year or two after I dated him. And she knew I was so obsessed with him, but like at the time I didn't care when she slept with him because I was over him by that point. But I just think it's funny like that you would do that. I would never do that to any of like my best friends that I grew up with. I consider anyone that any of my best friends have talked to absolutely off limits. Like I almost consider them brothers, even if like I hate them. That's how weird it would be if I hooked up with them, you know? But she got her karma because she ended up dating and having a kid with this guy that I dated in like 7th grade. He was like the bad boy in our school and he grew up being the even worse man, but like really bad to the point where I've heard like really terrible things that he did. And I don't know. I really hope that he didn't do any of that to her. I don't know for sure. Like DV, because obviously I don't think that's karma. I think that's absolutely terrible. But she was hanging out with him. I think this was before they had a baby together. She was hanging out with him and they were drinking and they got in a huge fight and she left and he called the cops on her and was like, this license plate is drunk driving. The cops found her, pulled her over, and gave her a DUI because this man was so evil that he would do that, which obviously, like, don't drunk drive in the first place, but it's crazy because then she got back together with him after that and proceeded to have a child with him. But that's none of my business. She was obsessed with him since like 8th grade. It was actually crazy. And this actually is so funny because I dated him and then she became obsessed with him. So apparently she just loved all my ex-boyfriends, even though obviously like I was in 7th grade when I dated him, so I don't really care. I really didn't care at all. But she became obsessed with him in 8th grade and was obsessed with him ever since. Like so obsessed. It was really scary. It was honestly like concerning a little bit. But yeah, she was obsessed with him and ended up having a kid with him. But now they're not together because he's actually insane. And he literally beat up someone that I know that dated a family member of mine, a girl. They like dated for a little bit and he beat her and her dog up while he was drunk one night. He beat them both up. How wild is that? Like, not only is domestic violence so terrible and so insane and so literally screw you, you should be in jail, but then to add on to that, abusing animals, abusing this girl's dog, beating the dog. I just can't believe this man. I can't believe that's like who this man turned out to be because obviously in like middle school when I dated him, he was like the bad boy, but he was the bad boy as in like he had sex before everyone else. He wasn't like being that amount of crazy, but he truly grew into himself. I mean, it's just crazy. He definitely had a lot of like family stuff. He had a good family, but his dad was in jail most of his life. But like outside of that, his family was really good. Like his sister was really nice. She was doing really well for herself. His mom was like amazing, but obviously it really affected him that his dad was in jail and I don't really remember what his dad was in jail for, but so many people from my hometown have gone to jail, gotten DUIs, like it's crazy. Hometown drama is crazy, especially like smaller hometowns. Wild. Okay, that's the end of the story time. I'm going to get into the advice segment. So if you ever want unprofessional advice from me, just go in the description below. It is anonymous and leave me as much detail as possible. Okay, the title of this is How Do I Stop Having the Urge to Run Every Time There's a Potential for My Feelings to Be Hurt in a Relationship? Hi, I'm 23 female and in my first relationship, 14 to 16 years old, so a long time ago, I was cheated on. I trusted him so much and it absolutely broke me. For a while. I thought the world of him and thought he felt the same way, so I never thought that he'd betray me in any way. I'm over it now and I've been in relationships relationships since then, but being cheated on in my first ever relationship caused me to have pretty severe trust issues. My brain does this thing now where if someone hurts my feelings or there is a potential red flag that my feelings could be hurt in the future, my brain wants to automatically detach itself from that person. It's like my feelings for them just fall out of my chest. It's why my second relationship ended. He hurt me, not in the same way as my first boyfriend, but my feelings for him just disintegrated. I'm in a very committed relationship now, and I want to be with this guy forever. But how do I stop feeling like I need to jump ship anytime there's the potential for being hurt? It was nice being able to drop guys at the snap of a finger when they really did do me wrong, but when it's someone I see a future with, I want to be able to work through problems and not avoid them because I feel like it's inevitable for feelings to be hurt sometimes when you're with someone for life. I'm not sure if you can help me. I know therapy would probably be the go-to recommendation, but it sounds like such a hassle to likely need to go through multiple therapists to find a good one when it's already hard to open up about things like this. It feels silly, but any advice would be much appreciated if you can relate at all, or even if you can't. Thanks so much. P.S. Sorry if there's typos. I wish I could read it back in paragraph form so I could quickly fix any mistakes. Okay, as you said, I mean, the first thing that I thought was definitely therapy because in this situation, obviously, it's like a coping mechanism for you, and it's a way for your brain to protect itself, and you're like for your body to to protect itself in this like kind of scenario, since that is something that you learned early on in your life and you realized that that's just like what works best for you is to just drop people. But I would say also, like, I don't know, for me, I feel like in a lot of cases exposure therapy helps a lot. It's a big thing with like OCD, but I feel like exposure therapy can be applied to a lot of things, and by that I mean like when something goes wrong. And I know that you can't like help that the way that you feel and the way that you just want to like shut off, but I say that when something does go wrong and there's something that you need to work on, I would say just force yourself to work through it. And the more that you do that every time, it will get easier and easier. And I completely understand with like the shutting off thing. Usually, like when in relationships, and I've been like this forever, and it's really hard, and it's a really hard thing to unlearn. I don't know if this is like similar to what you're going through or not, or if this is relative at all, but when I get in fights with my boyfriend, and this is applies to every relationship that I've had even in the past, I automatically shut down, and it's like I can't talk. It's like my body physically doesn't let me talk about things, and I'm just like I completely shut down, and it's like silence. I just need everyone to shut up. I don't want to talk. And if you try to talk to me, like I'm probably not going to talk to you. I'm probably just going to sit there and be like, "No. Bye." You know? And I know that that's not healthy because you should talk, but I do think that it's okay to let yourself process because some people do need to process things. So, some people, which it's hard because if you have a partner that likes to talk things out right away, but then you're the opposite, you guys kind of have to meet in the middle somehow. But some people need to talk things out right away, and that's like what's healthy for them. And then some people need time to process it. So I would meet in the middle somewhere. Like if you need an hour to process things, don't take 20 minutes to process things. If your partner is someone that likes to talk about things right away, then just kind of like, but if you do need that time to process things for just a little bit and then you want to come back to talk about it later, which I highly recommend that you end up talking about it and don't just left just because like time has passed, you don't talk about things anymore. But I would just like let your partner know like, "Hey, I need some space to process things when we get in fights. So just give me when like things happen like this, it makes me shut down. So just give me like 10, 20 minutes to get my thoughts together, to get myself like calmed down. Maybe, I don't know, this sounds a little hokey pokey, but maybe do like a little bit of a meditation or like a breathing exercise. And I know that in the time like that's happening in the moment, it can feel so stupid and you're like, fuck that. Like I'm just mad and I just want to be mad. So it's like hard to do those things, but obviously that goes with anything. You have to work through things to get through things. So I would just recommend trying to force yourself to talk things out and just giving yourself a little bit of time to process things first. Calm down, take some breaths, count to whatever, count to 100, count to 200, and then come back and talk to your partner about it, even if it's still so uncomfortable for you. And I'm not a therapist, so like this is obviously I say this every time, this is unprofessional advice, but this is kind of like what I would do and what would help me through the situation is just to like force myself to talk about it. And I think of that as like exposure therapy. The more that you do it, the more used to it you get and the more your brain like accepts it over time. But yeah, I do agree though. Like I think that going through bad relationships and having like the ability to just drop someone at like the snap of your fingers is such a nice feeling. But obviously once you're in a healthy relationship, you don't want to drop that person at the snap of your fingers and at every single thing that goes wrong, every tiny little fight that you guys get in. Obviously, that's not a healthy coping mechanism to have, especially if you want to have like a long term relationship with someone and you want it to last. But the feeling of like losing feelings for someone and just not even having to go through that mourning process is so nice. Because honestly, like in my past relationships, I've mourned the relationship before it was even over. So once I did end up ending that relationship, I was so far removed from it that it felt so good. It felt like a relief rather than like, okay, now it's time to start the mourning process and to get over this breakup, which I don't think is healthy. I think that you should be like, you should break up with someone and then you should probably mourn that relationship. But it did feel nice to like not have to go through a breakup because I was still in the relationship when I was like going through the breakup because I just like knew in my mind like this is just not it. This is not right. And my brain just like started shutting down and yeah, processing the breakup even though I wasn't going through a breakup. But I hope that helps in any way, shape, or form. I just said in the earlier in this episode that my neck is actually dying. If anyone has any recommendations, hopefully by the time you guys were watching this, it's gone because this is like the worst feeling ever. I feel like a robot right now because the way that my neck is like so kinked. And it's not even like it's like not in pain as I just sit here. It's not in pain, but it's kinked up. So like every movement is like hard and it's like I can barely move. I feel like I should just not move because it's so kinked up and it's so terrible. It's such a terrible feeling, but it was awful. I was at the gym and I did like two workouts. I was doing back and shoulders, and then all of a sudden I'm doing this one workout and it just like fucked up my neck. And I was like, oh my God. So I sat down and I could barely move. I had to sit there for like 15 minutes because I was like, I don't even know how to get up. I don't know how to re-rack my weights because my body is like not even physically letting me. And then after like 15 minutes, I finally got up and I re-racked my weights. And we have massage chairs at my gym. So I went and got a massage. Didn't help at all because it fucking just, all it does is bang on my ass cheeks the whole entire time. It's actually so annoying. I don't know like why it feels the need to literally massage my ass for 20 minutes straight. But I was actually about to like freak out. I felt like anger coming up because my neck was hurting so bad and I just wanted something to help it. And I don't even know, the tension made me so emotional and I was getting so annoyed. I was like, why is this thing massaging my ass when I want it to massage my neck for 1 second, please? I didn't work out my ass, so why are you touching me? So then when I was done with that, I went to the bathroom at the gym and I literally cried on the toilet because I was like in such pain. And it was just like I don't even know, it felt like a pressure point for crying, if that makes any sense at all. It just felt like I needed to cry, needed to let it out because it was just, I don't even know, it was the worst feeling ever. I was so annoyed and I really hope that it goes away. But like I took a nap today and I used a heating pad for like 2 hours on my neck and it's definitely like better. Now it's just sore. It just feels sore from being kinked up this morning. Like because it hurt. It actually hurt this morning. And every movement I made, it was like something was stabbing me. And then now it's just sore from all of the activity that it had to go through. But I'm annoyed that I went to the gym and I didn't even get to work out because the second workout that I did literally kinked the shit out of my neck. But yeah, I'm just drama. I'm drama today. I'm drama tomorrow. Let's just pray to the Lord Jesus that my neck is not going to stay like this because otherwise I need to go to the hospital immediately. I keep looking stuff up online and I'm like, how do I like get rid of this? And it keeps saying if this persists or if this happens or if this happens, get medical attention. I don't want to get medical attention. Just tell me what to do. Like, I know that's the responsible thing to do, but I don't want to. I hate medical attention. Just let me figure it out and tell me how to heal it on my own without medical attention. Because, God forbid, I go to the doctor and they're so annoying and all they do is say, oh, just take a hot shower or a hot bath. Because sometimes when you go to the doctor, it feels like you just literally threw money into a fucking wishing well, like $500 for no reason, and then you could never get that money back because it's like, oh, thanks, wishful thinking, I guess. You didn't tell me even one single thing that I didn't know or that I couldn't have googled myself, but okay, sir, okay, doctor. That's the annoying thing about healthcare is so many doctors that I've been to, sorry, just aren't good. There's a limited amount of doctors I've found that are actually good in my lifetime, and I feel like I've gone to a lot of doctors. It gets so frustrating. It's like, please do your job. And don't just tell me, like, oh, it's just a cold. But, anyways, now that I'm in this position, I feel like I can't even get up because I can't use my neck to get up. I have to use other parts of my body. Otherwise, I just can't physically get up. It's actually kind of crazy, honestly. So, this is me. Oh, I'm literally immobilized. It's the worst feeling ever. But that's kind of all I have to update you guys on. I really have nothing else to say, but other than I love you guys so much and thank you so much for watching. As always, please let me know what your thoughts are on this episode in the comments below. Or if you're on Spotify, hi, love you. Comment, please. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.